It's been 6 years now since Hideo Kojima introduced us to the world of Death Stranding. Psychic bottle babies, tar ghosts, community sharing ladders, and so much more. Hideo Kojima's opus was broad, expansive, and oh so weird, and now he's back with an all-new installment. So pack up your sunscreen because we're doing this review on the beach. Death Stranding was the official Megadad's Game of the Year when it released for the PlayStation 4 back in 2019, and now Hideo Kojima is back with more. And boy, do I mean more. Death Stranding 2 is a continuation both in the story and also the gameplay. He's tightened the screws to deliver an extremely satisfying sequel. Now, if you were somebody who didn't feel very attached to the very first Death Stranding, you're probably not going to find anything in Death Stranding 2 to change your mind. Like I said, everything is stepped up. He's cut a lot of the filler out. So in Death Stranding 2, once you get through the initial story setup and they set you loose in this world, which takes place in Australia, which is kind of cool. You get your hands on some of the best tools right out of the gate, so vehicles come really fast. If you're a person that found the gameplay in Death Stranding 1 too slow and you just wish you could get to your destinations faster, all of that walking, all that hiking, all that climbing, you can really do things your way a lot easier in Death Stranding 2. They present you with vehicles almost immediately, so you can drive to a lot of your delivery points. Combat is much better in Death Stranding 2. They give you a lot more weaponry. The shooty shoot opportunities are much more frequent and satisfying, and they do it in a great way because, of course, in the world of Death Stranding, you don't want to kill anybody because then they become a BT, they become a ghost. So you got yourself some rubber bullets and concussion grenades and a lot of non-lethal options so that you can still kick a lot of ass without a high body count. And that's kind of fun. You know, we play a lot of games where you just murder tons of people. So to play an action game where you're not killing anybody, that's kind of cool. And it really speaks to what Kojima is doing, and that is different. Kojima wants to do everything different. And it doesn't get much more different than Death Stranding 2. The world of Death Stranding, of course, it's a carryover. It's an immediate continuation from the first game. The world is very strange. There has been an apocalyptic event known as the Death Stranding, which merges the world of the living and the dead. And it sets up a whole bunch of ground rules about what you can and cannot do in this world and what you can expect when you traverse it. Timefall still falls from the sky and degrades everything around you. So if you have a lot of cargo and you're walking in the rain, you're going to have to repair it as you go, or you're going to have to suffer the consequences as your cargo and your deliverables become destroyed. And also the environment is just very barren. There's, of course, outposts scattered throughout the world, but the in-betweens, that's where the fun is, because you get to build roads and bridges and bunkers and all sorts of fun things to revive the world. You're not just connecting the people in it, but you're really building the world up from nothing. And that is just so much fun because it's done in typical Death Stranding style as a community. Other players are playing their own versions of Death Stranding, and it's all connected, not in a sense that you see other players running around in the world, but in the sense that they contribute to your success and you in turn contribute to theirs. You want to build a road or a bridge, you find a terminal that will accept your materials, and there are multiple players in your instance who are doing the same thing at that same terminal. So you're putting in metal, they're putting in metal, and you're filling up the requirements to build that road or bridge together until finally it's built. And then you guys both have that road or bridge in your game. It's so cool. It's a cooperative experience without having somebody in your game, and it's just like the original Death Stranding. It's a brilliant, brilliant gameplay mechanic. Death Stranding, of course, is a game all about delivering. You get a request to bring something from one bunker to another halfway across the map. You have to plot out your course. You have to pack your materials, which you think are going to best aid you. And of course, you got to carry your cargo. And that's not too tricky when you're going across a level environment, but boy, when you're trying to ascend a mountaintop and you can't take your truck because the snow and the ice are too steep and deep, that's where the fun comes in. Another place where Death Stranding 2 shines is just Kojima's brilliant storytelling and world building. There are some characters in this game and a sense of community that you develop with them that just wasn't present in the original Death Stranding. There were other characters that you would come across and interact with. But in Death Stranding 2, you really feel like you have a team. Really feel like you have a cohesive unit that supports you and wants you to succeed and ushers you towards the finish line of a very compelling narrative that sees Sam on a very personal journey, not just to connect Australia in the same way that he did to America, but to really rebuild himself after a traumatic incident. There are so many moments of brilliant drama, incredible directing by Kojima, an amazing musical score that has you ping-ponging back and forth between tear-jerking drama and head-scratching absurdity. This wouldn't be a Kojima game if we didn't have some weird, and Death Stranding 2 has weird by the bucket load. I found Death Stranding 2 to really one-up the first game in every conceivable way. Sometimes it feels like a director's cut where you're doing a lot of the same things as the first game, but just better. But man, Kojima always finds a way to make his storytelling so relevant to today's world. There's not a lot that I could knock Death Stranding 2 for, but if Death Stranding scratched a certain itch for you, Death Stranding 2 is going to flat out rub your belly. It's my current game of the year, and of course, I've got to give it 5 out of 5 stars.
Catch you later.
Thank you so much for watching this Megadads review. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and join us again. This is Megadads. We're all about fun, fully grown.